At 4ZZZ, we acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we broadcast. We pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging of the Turrbal and Jagera people. We acknowledge that their sovereignty over this land was never ceded.
And we stand in solidarity with them.
You're listening to Transmission on 4ZZZ, amplifying the trans and gender non-conforming voices of Brisbane and beyond.
Good morning, Meanjin. You're listening to Transmission on 4ZZZ. My name is Ez. I use he, him pronouns. Transmission, our mission, is all about amplifying those voices of the trans community here in our city, our beautiful city of Brisbane, Meanjin, and also stories from around the world, all sorts of stuff like that. We interview lots of people, and today I've got a special interview with Rae White, who will be at the Brisbane Writers' Festival, who is an incredible spoken word artist, a poet, and also a zinester. So we're going to be having a chat with Rae a little bit later. Rae also, a little fact, used to be here at 4ZZZ doing some stuff, which we can chat about as well. But first up, as per usual, with Transmission is the week in community news and events. So we've got some events coming up. So at QC, which is at 22 Helen Street in Tenerife, the HQ down there, on Wednesday, May 10th, from 3:30pm till 5:30pm, is Daily Living Toolbox, Physical and Sexual Health. So come to our Daily Living Toolbox information sessions for our LGBTQIA+, sister girl and brother boy communities. This series of information sessions is designed to offer you a chance to learn more about local services and practitioners who can offer advice and support around daily living skills, health and well-being. Come along with our friendly QC GP Plus team as we talk about different aspects of life that can assist you in specific areas. Dates and times. So Wednesday, May 10th from 3:30pm. If you'd like more information as well, you can call 3017 1777. Yeah, and they've also got guest speaker Vaughan McLaughlin and a practice nurse at QCGP+. So yeah, that's this Wednesday. Then we've got Ida Hobbit Online, which is an introduction to LGBTQIA+ inclusion. This is an online event, and it's Tuesday, 16th of May, so that will be today week, from about 3:30pm as well, which is Australian Eastern Standard Time. How do you build LGBTQIA+ inclusion? It's more important than ever to stand out against discrimination and stand with the LGBTQIA+ community. But it can be hard to know where to start if you're not confident in your knowledge. In honour of Ida Hobbit, the International Day Against LGBTQIA+ Discrimination, the -18 education team is going live to present a digital, interactive, live stream introduction into LGBTQIA+ inclusion. And what does Ida Hobbit mean? Well, every May 17th, it's a chance for the whole community, workplaces, schools, individuals to go rainbow and stand out against discrimination. It's a day full of morning teas, school assemblies, rainbow digital meetings, classroom discussions, fundraisers and education. Whether you're an individual, workplace, school or community organisation, this in-depth training will equip you with the knowledge you need on Ida Hobbit and to champion inclusivity all year round. So they cover off on lots of things in terms of different identities, the difference between sex, gender and sexuality, evidence-based barriers LGBTQIA+ people face at work and accessing services, recommendations and practical tools. I'm also going to hear some lived experiences from LGBTQIA+ members and, community members. Yeah, we have a subscription we pay for. And experience workshops as well and presenters. Opportunities to ask questions throughout the whole thing too. So this is a great opportunity if you're a little feeling ignorant on LGBTQIA+ spaces and issues. This is the thing for you. Can recommend. This will be online Tuesday, 16th of May. I did pop a link to this on the Transmission socials, so you can head over to @trans.radio, trans with a Z, either on Facebook or Instagram, any of them. There's a link there to this event. It is a paid event. I can't remember how much it is. It's around the $30-40. But yeah, if you're interested, you should do it. So now we're moving into some news. Trigger warning for this next segment. It does contain some very heavy themes. I had an update from our US correspondent who's based in New York City Their name is Fae, is a trans femme non-binary person living in New York, and they work as a union organizer, and they're doing some correspondence for Transmission. And I've just asked Fae to give us some updates on some of the bills that have been passed and other things that they thought was relevant for us to know here in Australia. So I'm just going to push play. And again, trigger warning. Yeah, there's some heavy themes in this. So yeah, please take care of yourself. And if you don't want to listen to this, tune out for the next 6 minutes.
April and May have been two more very brutal months for transgender people living in the United States of America on the unceded lands of North America's indigenous people. Numerous states are enacting drag bans, which, while presented as preventing children from seeing adult acts, they are written so broadly to be effectively banning someone from dressing from a gender different from the one they were assigned at birth. These are trans bans. Some states are seeking to ban not only transgender healthcare for minors, but also adults. This is sadly not anything new. But some of the things that are new is how willing anti-trans lawmakers are willing to cut their nose to spite their face. Note, all dollar amounts are listed in the United States dollar at the time of writing. 1 American dollar equals 1.48 Australian dollars. From the Montana Free Press. Senate Bill 458, sponsored by Senator Carl Glim, inserts a definition of sex based on a person's reproductive characteristics into more than 40 sections of the state code. A deep dive fiscal note requested by the legislative Democrats and distributed Friday says Montana could lose any or all of its $7.5 federal special revenue authority, federal grants in other words, if Senate Bill 458, legislation to define sex in the Montana law, is enacted, unquote. This bill seeks to change parts of the Montana Code to get in compliance with federal government, which has anti-discrimination policy. It is important to note that this would also endanger $312.5 million of federal money to the Montana State University system that serves the entire state. What I find so scary about this is that forcing the identification of one's gender to the person's reproductive characteristics is legally defining transgender people out of existence, which is following the Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention definition. The 10 stages of genocide is stage 9, legally defining people out of existence. This is important to note that in November of 2022, the Lemkin Institute put out a statement calling the anti-transgender and gender-critical ideology and their talking points genocidal movements. I think it's important to note that when organizations that study genocide also agree with transgender people when they talk about an ongoing transgender genocide. Also ongoing in Montana is the censure of Zoe Zephyr, who is the first openly transgender woman elected to the Montana state legislature. When debating anti-trans bills that were before the legislation, she said, and I quote, "I hope the next time there's an invocation when you bow your heads in prayer, you can see the blood on your hands," end quote. This has since started a frenzy. It is interesting to note that when we present our stories to people, they don't believe them. They would rather disregard a trans person's life and their experiences we have lived through. But then when you bring forward the data, and the data is extremely clear, when you take away a trans person's health care, the risk of suicide skyrockets. If your bill is going to deny trans people their health care, what you're trying to do is kill off transgender people, but not by your hand, but by their own. This is why the slogan, "Every trans suicide is a murder," is often said. So when Representative Zephyr speaks about this, she is speaking about her community. I don't know of a trans person in my life who doesn't know someone who hasn't taken their own life. But when you remind these lawmakers of that and what they are doing, they become incensed. This has involved Representative Zephyr being censured, her suing to be reinstated onto the House floor, being denied her office, having to work on a bench, and I swear this is true. The Speaker of the Montana Legislature had his mother and a bunch of her friends take the bench that Representative Zephyr was using, and instead, Zephyr had to stand at a lunch counter to do her work. American fascism comes again in the form of a middle-aged to elderly white woman smiling at you while wearing her Gap outfit. The similarity between the photos of these women and of those fighting against desegregation is striking. History doesn't repeat, but it does often rhyme. Meanwhile, in Florida, 2 anti-trans bills passed from the Human Rights Council. HB 1521, an anti-trans bathroom bill, and SB 254, an extreme, unprecedented attack on transgender people and their health care and the families and healthcare providers who care for them. SB 254 bill is a gender-affirming care ban that would give Florida the unprecedented ability to strip parental rights from the parents who support their transgender children. SB 254 4 bill now heads back to the Senate. These 2 bills not only seek to ban trans people from using the bathroom, which I want to unpack that for a moment. If you're not allowed to legally use a bathroom in public, that is effectively banning you from leaving your house for longer than you can hold your bladder or your bowels. The other bill in Florida is a ban that would criminalize as a felony the doctors and parents who provide transgender health care to a child. It would also strip doctors of their licenses to practice medicine. It would also qualify as child abuse and would take the trans child away from their parents. It would not allow for any state or federal money to go towards such health care, whether it be directly or through a hospital or a school such as a university. This includes Medicaid, which, while not nearly adequate, is what passes for a social safety net for health insurance in the United States. This bill is one of the ones people are talking about when they talk about Florida kidnapping children from loving parents. I cannot stress how dangerous it is to make giving transgender health care to a minor child abuse. This will lead to more states following suit. In many ways, this feels like a shift of the Overton window, which, if you are not aware, the Overton window is the limit to discussions that would be deemed acceptable for public debate. Transgender healthcare being child abuse to minors is such a dramatic shift. It more or less says that, without having to say it, that being transgender is abuse unto yourself. They want us to hate ourselves. I simply refuse to. Have I taken hits in my career for being trans? Of course, but I'm a lucky one. My wife, family, friends, and my union, IATSE Local 600, all support me. I know I'm going to keep fighting, doing everything I can to make it easier for the kin that will be behind me. Because we're here, and we're not going to go anywhere. We're as old as humanity, and we have always been here.
Thank you, Faye, for your update on what's happening over in the US. It's quite grim, and we're sending all our love and support to our US siblings fighting for just to survive, really. Yeah, it's pretty bad over there.
QLife is Australia's first nationally oriented counselling and referral service for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender and intersex or LGBTI people. QLife provides peer-supported telephone and web-based services to diverse people of all ages. They help callers with a range of issues relating to sexuality and gender, including coming out, as well as more general issues such as relationship problems. So remember, you can call the QLife line daily from 5:30pm till 10:30pm on 1800 184 527. And for online chat and support, go to qlife.org.au.
Transmission, all about amplifying the voices of the trans community here in Mianjin and beyond. My name is Ez. I use he, him pronouns. And we're about to have a fantastic interview over the phone with the gorgeous, the fantastic, the wonderful, the most incredible, poet, up and coming, up and rising. I'm really talking them up now. Rae White. How you doing?
I'll take it. So I was like, wait, this is about me?
Oh, look, you're a former Zeta. I've got to talk you up.
Look, I'll take it.
So I'm just going to read this little intro here for you. Rae White is a non-binary transgender writer, educator, and zine maker. Their poetry collection, Milk Teeth, won the 2017 Arts Queensland Shapcott. Is it Shapcott? Poetry prize?
Yeah, Shapcott. If it was Snapcott, that'd be kind of cool. That's a cool last name.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic, so when I try to read stuff on this show, I'm like, words. We could say snapshot. Snapcott Poetry Prize was shortlisted for the 2019 Victorian Premier's Literary Awards and commended in 2018 an Elder Award. Rae's second poetry collection, Exactly As I Am, is out now, which is super exciting. Rae has also a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Creative Writing and Production from Queensland University of Tech and previously worked at 4ZZZ Community Radio as an on-air announcer. Hi, Rae.
Hello.
So glad to have you here today. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little bit chilly. Loving this cold snap. And by loving, I mean not enjoying at all.
We're so Queenslander. So I want to start off with how would you describe your art and what you do?
Oh, yeah, broad question for a Tuesday morning. I love it. So I guess I'm primarily a poet, but that's more like not just that I write poetry, but more that I guess poetry is sort of everything that I do almost. So I've written, a lot of different other things. I've written short stories. I've got some other books in the works. I've made a game, and even though they're not necessarily poetry, they're still kind of poetry at the end of the day. I kind of like that condensed language of poetry. And I also make zines as well, which was sort of how I kind of started out in the writing scene.
And because, speaking of that game, because I have a bit of a history with games now, it's piqued my interest. Bitsy Poem Game, Stand Up, is that the one? That's
the one, yeah. It's going to be at Pride at Play, which is in Melbourne next month. Yeah, it won the Wallara Digital Literary Award. And yeah, it's a cute little bitsy game, and it sort of focuses on trans joy and, some sad trans things, but, trans joy, important stuff.
Oh, yeah, got to take the good where you can these days, Rae.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And you've also got this really cool NB Life journal, which I've been checking out. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Oh, I love NB Life so much, and I get not too many questions about it sometimes. So, yeah, look, it's a journal that started out as a zine, and then I sort of decided to pop it online. It was sort of easier in terms of printing costs and accessibility, and yeah, people submit their work to us. It can be pretty much anything, so long as I can chuck it on a website. And if you're a non-binary or gender diverse creative, it'd be, I think we'll be opening for submissions again fairly soon. So if people do want to submit their awesome work, that would be great. We've got so many amazing poets that are published on there as well, but it's definitely not the only focus, because I kind of wanted to, get those voices out there. There's, a lot of journals and a lot of places to get published nowadays, but not a lot that necessarily focus on just, non-binary and gender diverse people. So it's that's a niche.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And providing us another, platform for non-binary and gender diverse artists and writers to place their content that can be consumed by other people who will understand, and relate to their experiences, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's all about community, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And it's cool that you're able to create and develop those spaces and create that platform, especially coming from Milk Teeth. Was Milk Teeth your very first collection?
Yeah. So I kind of made a lot of zines and stuff, and then was oh yeah, I'm gonna enter this manuscript in this prize and have a crack at it. And it won. So
yeah, wow,
it was a pretty big deal.
And you were at Zed at that time as well?
No, I literally just, I think, finished up. And I also been made redundant from a job. And I was like, the world is my oyster. I'm going to live my dream and be a poet.
Yes!
And it worked. I was like, oh, no, what? This doesn't normally happen. I thought it was going to be a bit of a push.
And that's fantastic. And so, Milk Teeth being your first collection, how is Exactly As I Am different? Because this is your latest collection. How do you feel your journey has been between the two?
Yeah, look, this one's definitely more trans. And definitely a lot more queer. And I kind of developed it in a way that was sort of, had a bit more of a, not necessarily a narrative to it, but there was more of a structure to it. And I think it's been, pretty well received, and there's been a lot of people, I love it when people come up to me and talk about how, those, especially the, the trans-tastic kind of poems and Exactly As I Am have kind of helped them, work out some gender stuff, or they've super related to it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. And I love it when people are like, oh yeah, no, it's inspired me to write poetry. And I'm like, yes, this is what we want.
Yeah,
if
totally.
The poem that you read is inspiring you to write poetry, that's the vibe that I'm going for.
Yes. Okay. All right. So if you want to get into poetry, get Exactly As I Am. You've also been featured in another book, which is a collection of stories as well, which is Nothing to Hide: Voices of Trans and Gender Diverse Australia. That's a fantastic collection. And were you approached by Eve and one of the editors for that as well? So this all came out of it?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I was approached by Alex Gallagher, and yeah, it was really lovely to it's such an incredible book and an incredible collection, and something that I think just sort of really, showcases trans and gender diverse, voices in so-called Australia. And I was kind of blown away to be, even included. So, definitely also check that one out and buy it. I'm just promoting all the books that
well, they're all so good.
I think that one's amazing.
It's also, I think part of the reason I want to mention all these things is because there's not enough content and stories, trans stories that exist that are tangible and accessible everywhere yet, And so it really, I want to highlight hey, these are all the things that you should check out just because Rae White's in them. Because it's just
they're also oh, sorry, yeah.
Oh, you go.
Yeah, and I also feel like that book is accessible. It's definitely hard hitting, but there's the trigger warnings and things, and it's a book that is something that every person can read, and it's not necessarily and it's just sort of the thing that I aim to do when I write poetry or anything at all, is to make it accessible and not just kind of super academic and inaccessible. I'm not kind of here for that vibe.
Yeah. It's cool that if you can, it's always, trying to navigate having your content and what you create centering and focusing on the trans experience, whilst also on the fringes informing allies and cis folk. It's such a balancing act to be this is about us, but allies and cis people can also listen in and or read and consume this media and still get an understanding and maybe something out of it. That's always an art form in of itself.
Yeah, it's definitely a balancing act, and that kind of I guess this is for us, but also at the same time it can be used to educate. It's that kind of it's a very strange balancing act, and one that if an ally or if a cis person is oh, this is cool, I understand this, I'm that is very good. It is not first and foremost for you, but I am very pleased.
You get a gold star sticker.
Yeah, it's very good.
Amplifying the voices of the trans and gender non-conforming community of Meanjin, Brisbane and beyond.
Transmission on 4ZZZ brings you the latest in trans community news, music and events.
Every Tuesday from 9am till 10am.
Join our team of hosts for an hour of celebrating the unique perspectives of the trans community.
Transmission, Tuesday mornings from 9am till 10am on 4ZZZ. You're listening to Transmission on 4ZZZ. My name is Ez. I use he, him pronouns. We're having a chat with the one and only Rae White. How you doing, Rae?
Hello. I'm still doing good. I don't know if I didn't introduce my pronouns at the start, but I think it was in my bio. But yes, I am they, them. Hello again.
We're just chatting about, poetry and a lot of your career as a spoken word artist and zine maker, how being non-binary and trans plays into what you create and what you write. And you're also going to be at Brisbane Writers Festival.
Yes, which is going to be very exciting. I was I'll talk about all the panels that I'm on. I'm going to be doing a panel called Sexuality and Gender, which is super relevant to the show. And it'll be on the Saturday, the 13th of May from 2:30. According to the website, it's selling out fast. So that is a thing to note if you want to see that panel. And it's with Ellen Van Neven, Fiona McGregor, Raywin Connell, and Maureen Engel. So it'll be a big boy.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, is this your first Brisbane Writers Festival as an asked author?
I was on last year, which was very cool, but that was my first year. Yeah, and it was phenomenal. And I hosted some stuff last year, which was it was super fun.
What did you do last year?
We did. I have a terrible memory. Why did you do this?
I'm just putting you on the spot. I'm go.
Yeah, no, I did a poetry reading, and there was we talked about there was a panel where we talked about fandom, and there was we got people from the audience to like read their cool fan poetry and like fan fiction and stuff.
Oh, cute.
It was awesome. Love fan stuff like that. Just anything to do with fan fiction, I'm like, yes. Fan fiction is art. Let's go.
How queer of you. We're like obsessed with fanfic. I should do like an episode of Transmission about fan fiction and get you back on again and talk about it.
The worst thing is I'd write stuff now, but like I didn't sort of write anything. I think I wrote some stuff back in the day, but I don't remember what it was.
Oh my gosh.
So I now mostly write like Animal Crossing stuff.
Okay, all right. I was going to be like, what kind of fanfic? Is this like Twilight? You know?
No, just Animal Crossing dystopian fan fiction poetry.
Okay, that's
really niche.
That's fantastic.
Niche.
Oh my gosh. How do you... So, I have to ask. With Animal Crossing fanfic, what exactly... Can you tease a little bit of what this fanfic is?
Oh, it's mostly just like weird dystopian poetry like this, because I think that I love Animal Crossing. It's very calming, but it's quite odd and dystopian, like especially when, you know, you're always on like islands or you're kind of like, there's this kind of, you know, colonialist setting where, you know, you have to like, you know, revive the island and, you know, you've got to, you know, answer to Tom Nook, who's a capitalist. And it's all very, I find it very haunting.
He's such a capitalist.
About that. Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody likes Nook.
Nobody does like Nook. Like, he's so huggable. And then he's like really mean.
Oh, he's so awful. So you're gonna be writing more Animal Crossing fanfic? I mean, I guess fanfic is one of those things where it's like, the mood has struck me. I must write about this. You know?
Oh no, I definitely already have. Yeah, I wrote a zine about it, which is actually I'm part of promoting another thing. I'm part of Can Zine, which is a online international zine festival at the moment through Broken Pencil magazine. And so I'm selling it there, and it's just, it's called No Horizons instead of New Horizons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, nice. Don't sue me, guys.
Yes, we don't say Nintendo on air, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's I definitely am going to do a sequel. I've already like started writing some weird poetry. I also like writing dystopian Pokemon fiction. So
oh my gosh, we are hanging out. I want to know more about this.
I love it.
It's so
totally
good.
Off topic of Brisbane Writers Festival, but like
totally not related to the sexuality and gender discussion at all. Thank you so much, Rae, for joining me on Transmission this morning.
Thank you so much. And yeah, definitely for Brisbane Writers Festival, I'm also doing a zine panel on the Sunday. So yes, if that is probably what I'm here to promote. So come say hi. So just like come say hi and high five me if people want to, you know, chat. It's chill. You don't have to come to my panels, but also come to my panels.
Okay.
It was so lovely to talk to you today.
Yes, it's been lovely chatting with you too. So yes, Brisbane Writers Festival, Saturday 13th of May for the Sexuality and Gender panel. And then, check out them zines and get a high five from Rae White at Brisbane Writers Festival.
Banshee's Bar and Art Space is Ipswich's only bar for live, loud, original gigs, contemporary art and a friendly, relaxed vibe. They support original artists, social justice activists and 4ZZZ subscribers who get 10% off their drinks with your 4ZZZ subscriber card. Banshee's Bar and Art Space in Ipswich are a proud 4ZZZ business subscriber and sub-discount outlet.
You're listening to Transmission on 4ZZZ. My name is Ez. I use he, him pronouns. Having a lovely chat with Rae White this morning. If you're just tuning in now and you've missed out, don't panic. You can always listen back to 4ZZZ on demand. Head over to www.4ZZZ.org.au. Got all the programs in there, you got schedules, you got everything. You can listen back on demand up to like 5 episodes. Yeah, there's also, you know, our Z Digital. So there's a bunch of other extra amazing broadcasts that are also on Z Digital. And you should also subscribe and support 4ZZZ. If you missed out on April Atonement, don't panic. You can still care about us. Yeah, so 4ZZZ.org.au/support. Subscribe, support this community, support what you love. And support, this radio station. Greatest place on planet Earth. I can say that because I got the microphone on and I can't hear you, so if you disagree, too bad. 4ZZZ's the best. Anyway, I'm going to head off. But first I should... Sass has messaged me saying that next Friday, the 19th of May, is Agender Pride Day. So, yeah, if you want to learn more about agender, I will post a link on the Transmission Facebook page at Trans Radio with a Z. You can learn more about how you can support our ACE community and as well as intersex community as well. I think that all Intersex Awareness Day is also coming up. I say that with a high infliction because I actually don't know if that's soon or not. I don't understand time. Time is interesting. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed Transmission today. I'm going to leave you. So thank you so much for tuning in to Transmission, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Transmission. See you next Tuesday, 9 to 10 a.m. on 4ZZZ.